There's a fundamental premise, I guess, I have, and that is that, paraphrasing the ancient Greeks, if the unexamined life is not worth living, the unexamined faith is not worth believing. And so I think that people need to push and analyze and doubt and question and debate. But for me, Sunstone is for people who do think deeply and creatively and who have questions and who have concerns and want to find other people who share those and talk about it. It's a mechanism to explore and to analyze and to share feelings about the gospel, about life, about social issues that relate to Mormon culture, and give people a vehicle for that kind of demanding inquiry that probably doesn't fit usually in a Sunday school or in a priesthood class or relief society or sacrament meeting. And so it's a place to really, really explore, not to proselyte so much, not to indoctrinate. I don't like zealots on either the true believer side or the critic side, but a place to explore with dignity and with honor and with compassion and with patience and with tolerance, and an open place to really look at what's important. There was that period, and many people still feel that either a whining kind of tone or an antagonistic tone. And when I was chairing the board of Sunstone years ago, I wrote a piece on that I thought we shouldn't accept either as the defining character of Sunstone. Far too much whining and far too much antagonism. We ought to be honest inquiry. And when the alternative voice thing came out, I wrote something on that. I said that I didn't see it as an alternative voice. I saw it as an honest voice. We weren't trying to recruit people to a point of view. We didn't have a point of view. Sunstone is not a content phenomenon. It's a process phenomenon. It's a place, it's a forum, it's a place to talk and share. It's not a place to articulate a particular value or point of view that everybody should adopt. It's an open forum, and open forums are always dangerous. Education is dangerous. There's nothing quite so scary as truth, as a new idea, and that's what happens here. And so, I think that it's too bad, but it's part of an evolving process that takes place when you have an open forum and somebody uses it to push their own particular point of view that may be vicious or hostile, and then somebody generalizes from that, and that's unfortunate. It's really too bad. Another fundamental premise of mine is that you can never make organizations safe for people. You can only make people safe for organizations. That's a paraphrase from Clark Kerr, who was president of the University of California when I was a student there. And he said you can never make universities or ideas safe for students. You have to make students safe for ideas. And that's the case here. There's going to be controversy. There's going to be wild ideas. That's the nature of the human mind, and that's exciting. That's fun. That ought to be an invitation rather than a barrier to exploring and developing faith. And so I say, again, the unexplored life is not worth living, and the unexplored faith is not worth believing. And this is a place to explore. And if somebody gets offended, that's unfortunate, but it will happen. That's the nature of the institution, the same as the nature of the university. There's going to be troublesome things said and done, and we have to learn to rise above it, to transcend it rather than to be victimized by it. I remember several pillars of my faith session. I remember one where Toby Pingree and Bill Bradshaw and I think Tom Rogers, and the spirit of people like that, brilliant, thoughtful, critical, careful, loving people. Those are my friends. Those are the people I like. Those are the kinds of things that I want to be part of, and the kind of people I want to have as my community. And I do not share the position that if history is not faith promoting, that you shouldn't tell it. I think you should tell all history. I think truth is the variable, the critical variable. And I don't think it's ever going to be safe within one institution, within one organizational framework. Again, I say all organizations are immoral. All organizations need people and institutional mechanisms to question, to debate, to counter, to inquire, to hold people accountable. Branches of government or whatever, a univariate system is not acceptable. We need liberal pluralism in everything. And so we're always going to need these organizations. We're always going to need these formats. We're always going to need university classes and things like Sunstone as a place to openly debate and inquire and test some of these ideas. I remember one day when I was at BYU, actually it was a funny time. It was a time where I was serving as chairman of the State Liquor Commission, chair of the Organizational Behavior Department at BYU, and chair of the board of Sunstone. And some people found that a little incongruous and a little troublesome. And I remember one person saying to me, gee, you know, in each of those roles, it looks like you doubt far too many things. He said, you know, my strength is I have never doubted anything. And I responded that my strength is that I've doubted everything and I'm still a believer. That ability, that transcendent ability. And so the notion that somehow conflicting roles are going to destroy, I think conflicting roles ennoble. I think they enlighten. Joseph Smith said, by contrary, is truth made manifest. I think that we need to explore different perspectives, and we don't need a uniform sort of system. And I think Sunstone is a mechanism to do that. And again, we won't agree with everything that's said, but I agree with I defend the fact, not don't agree, but defend the fact that we need the forum to do it. And all organizations need a loyal sort of critic. And the church needs a loyal critic. And I've had some fun feedback from general authorities on that. I've also had some strong criticism from other general authorities on that point. But for me, that is an absolutely critical dimension, that doubting and inquiry and conflict. I guess I'm different. I like conflict. When I was working in the Middle East peace process, people would ask me, they say, gee, isn't this a lot of conflict? My answer is yes, and that's how we're going to resolve and get to a good place. Without the conflict, we will have an imposition of a single system or a single value or paradigm that might not fit everybody. We need the confrontation and the conflict and the patience and the tolerance and the resolution that comes through transcending it rather than fighting it. And that's my position here. So for me, that's a critical point. People who think are not going to agree on things. And where do we share that disagreement? Where do we share that perspective? And I think Sunstone is the place. And I think a lot of people who don't go to Sunstone or don't accept many of the articles still ought to be supportive, because it's a forum that is critical for a large number of people who need that and who want that and who enjoy that and whose faith in many respects depends on that. But I defend the existence and solicit support for a process, not for a point of view. And so, yeah, I feel strongly about that.